The sun beat down on Karachi, Pakistan. It was September 5, 1986. Pan Am Flight 73, a Boeing 747, touched down. It had originated in Mumbai, then Bombay. Its destination, New York City. Aboard were over 350 souls, a mix of nationalities. They were businessmen, families, and tourists. Little did they know, terror awaited them on the tarmac. The plane taxied towards the terminal. The passengers, weary from the long journey, anticipated the next leg. They chatted, read, or dozed. The flight attendants prepared for the layover. Among them was Neerja Bhanot, a 23-year-old senior purser. Her smile was infectious, her demeanor calming. She was the picture of professionalism, loved by colleagues and passengers alike. The peace was shattered. 4 men disguised as airport security stormed the plane. They were armed with assault rifles and grenades. Passengers watched in disbelief, their eyes wide with fear. The men shouted, their words lost in translation to many, but their intent was clear. Pan Am Flight 73 was being hijacked. The hijackers were members of the Abu Nidal organization, a Palestinian terrorist group with a long history of violence. Their goal to force the release of Palestinian prisoners held in Israel. They had chosen Pan Am 73 as their pawn, and its passengers as their bargaining chips. The world watched in horror as the drama unfolded. Amid the chaos, Neerja Bhanot became a beacon of hope. Following protocol, she quickly transmitted a coded message to the cockpit, alerting the pilots of the hijacking. The pilots escaped through an overhead hatch, a standard security measure. This left Neerja as the senior crew member on board. She became the passenger's lifeline. Neerja kept her composure, even as the hijackers grew increasingly agitated. She spoke to them in English and Hindi, trying to de-escalate the situation. She offered them food and water, hoping to buy time and maintain a semblance of calm. Her actions, though driven by fear, were nothing short of heroic. The hours ticked by, each one an eternity for the terrified passengers. The air grew heavy with fear and the stench of sweat. The hijackers, becoming increasingly volatile, fired their weapons into the air, their threats echoing through the cabin. They demanded the pilots return and threatened to start killing passengers if their demands were not met. Neerja continued to be a source of strength and comfort. She collected passports, hiding the American ones under seats and in trash bins, knowing the American passengers were the primary targets. She whispered words of encouragement, sang songs to calm children, and even helped some passengers discreetly use the restroom. A passport, usually a symbol of freedom and identity, became a death warrant in the hands of the hijackers. The terrorists singled out an American passenger, Rajesh Kumar, a 29-year-old software engineer. They dragged him to the front of the plane, his pleas for mercy ignored. He was shot at point-blank range, his body left as a warning to others. The hijackers ordered Neerja to collect all the passports. They wanted to identify more American citizens. It was a pivotal moment. Neerja had hidden the American passports, knowing the danger they represented. She calmly handed over the remaining documents, her face betraying no hint of the risk she had taken. Section 6. The lights go out. As the sun began to set, plunging the cabin into darkness, so too did hope seem to fade. The hijackers, frustrated by the lack of progress in their demands, became more unpredictable. The plane's auxiliary power unit failed, cutting off the lights and plunging the aircraft into darkness. Panic surged through the cabin. In the darkness, fear took on a new dimension. The sound of a cough, a whisper, any movement sent shivers down spines. The hijackers, their faces hidden in the shadows, seemed even more menacing. Neerja, though terrified herself, continued to move among the passengers, whispering reassurances and offering what little comfort she could. Section 7. A desperate gamble. 16 hours into the ordeal, the hijackers' patience finally snapped. They started firing indiscriminately, their bullets ripping through the cabin. Passengers screamed, their cries swallowed by the roar of gunfire. It was a scene of unimaginable terror. Neerja knew she had to act. She opened an emergency exit and deployed the escape chute. Passengers scrambled for the exit, desperate to escape the carnage. Neerja could have been the first one out. Instead, she stayed behind, guiding passengers towards the escape route, even as the hijackers continued their rampage. She pushed children towards safety, her only thought the well-being of others. Section 8. The Legacy of Pan Am, 73. Pakistani commandos stormed the plane. A fierce firefight ensued. Passengers caught in the crossfire huddled for safety. When the gunfire finally ceased, the ordeal was over. Tragically, 21 passengers, including Neerja Bhanot, lost their lives. Over 100 were injured. Neerja was posthumously awarded the Ashoka Chakra, India's highest peacetime gallantry award, for her selfless bravery. The hijacking of Pan Am Flight 73 sent shockwaves around the world. It exposed the brutal reality of terrorism and the human cost of such acts. It also highlighted the courage and resilience of ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. Section 9. Echoes of Bravery. Neerja Bhanot's story became a symbol of courage and selflessness. Her actions, driven by a deep sense of duty and compassion, saved countless lives. She became a national hero in India, her story inspiring generations. The memory of Pan Am Flight 73 serves as a stark reminder of the human capacity for both good and evil. The hijacking also led to significant changes in aviation security, including the development of stricter screening procedures and international cooperation in combating terrorism. The events of that day, though tragic, ultimately led to a safer and more secure world.